Alrighty, everyone. I am beyond excited right now to be interviewing an absolute legend, the one and only Daymond John. He's the People's Shark. So I am so excited for this because we are going to dive into what does the power of broke mean. We're going to dive into how do you build a household name brand? Like how do you go like Daymond John did with FUBU and actually just go cut through the clutter and build a household name brand. So Daymond, thank you so much for taking the time here to inspire hundreds of the most ambitious law firm owners in the United States. Daymond, the first question I want to start with, and we're going to be giving away a lot of copies of your book, Power of Broke.
Nice.
What is the concept of the Power of Broke?
Well, the power of broke is that you don't necessarily need money. You don't need money to build a community, and you have to tap into the current resources you have. I mean, the only things that we can control out of life are the lens that we look at something through and the actions we take. And often we don't have all the resources we need, but we have very specific resources. You know, true entrepreneurs, they don't worry about how much money they have. They say, do I have time on hand? Do I have a network? Do I have a skill set? Am I a veteran? Am I a mom? Am I an attorney who understands these legalities or these structures and things of that nature? And you got to use exactly what you have. And then it's basically OPM. And OPM is not other people's money. I say it all the time. It's other people's mind power, manufacturing, marketing, mentors. And we all know we can make money off of other people's mistakes.
So back up against the wall, can you bring us to an experience? You know, I call this in my business a forcing function, right? Where it is do or die. There is no plan B. There is only plan A. Can you bring us back to a story in your life where your back was literally up against the wall?
You mean today or just a story in general?
On the come up.
You know, the back against the wall is, 9/11 happened. Everybody started nesting. FUBU already had taken about 5-year run, and most brands, except for the unicorns like Nike and Louis Vuitton, they have a hot 5, 6, 7 years. When a kid has 4 or 5 years of FUBU in their closet and they're going from high school to college, they want to try new brands. And all of a sudden, the market started to implode. And I looked at my back was against the wall, and I said, well, what was really my skill set? Was it the fact that I was a great designer? Well, putting a bunch of big 05s and FUBUs on a bunch of jerseys doesn't take a lot of skill. It was my ability to market. And I looked at my inventory. I knew the buyers at Macy's and the department stores. The internet was really starting to flourish, and I was able to talk directly to my customers. So what did I do? I went out and started acquiring other brands and said, I'm not going to stress the fact that I'm not going to force FUBU down, kids' throats if they don't want it. But I'm going to look at some other resources out there. Okay, there's some defunct brands like Coogee and other brands that may not have the pipeline, the manufacturing, the ability to sell. And I started acquiring other brands. And that was the best decision I can make. But I couldn't sit there with my hands in my pocket and say, well, I don't know any better. Let me just not do anything. And I think that then eventually led me, honestly, to be known as an investor, in the business world. And then, of course, now you have me here on Shark Tank.
I know that you're close with Grant. We've interviewed Grant quite a few times on our show. And I'm curious, what do you notice in the entrepreneurs that move fast versus the entrepreneurs that tend to flatline, right, and just stay at a status quo revenue level?
Well, the ones that flatline say the status quo, they suffer from analysis paralysis. They don't want to take a lot of chances. They're just so fortunate they got to this place, or they're doing really well at the moment and they feel that it's going to just never change. Everybody is hackable. Everybody will be disrupted one way or another, and you don't know where the disruption is coming from. I mean, if you called up Blockbuster or BlackBerry or Kodak to find out they're hackable, nobody's answering the phone. They're done, right? And the Ford thought other cars were going to hack them. No, it was Uber that hacked them, right? So, you never know where it's going to come. And so they sit there and they kind of stick their head in the sand, or they say, well, I don't need to know about that. This is my specialty. And that's not the reality. You have to be able to be like a chameleon. You have to basically, of course, you have to run the current business and you have to over deliver for your customers, right? Because you don't want to lose them. But you also have to spend a good amount of a percentage of time, having strategic relationships, learning and educating yourself those places, taking small chances and failing, but even knowing that that's something. Now I'm going this direction. Now I know a couple of things I don't want to do. I don't need to do. But of course, it's always, again, like I said, using other people in your network. I didn't go ahead and just start hiring a bunch of new people. I didn't have the money to do that. I needed to borrow 10% of your time and I'd give you 10% of mine. And if I started to see that worked and I started to see my business grow, then maybe down the road I can hire somebody to take over that position. But I just didn't dive into everything.
Such a good point there. I'm curious, can you explain the concept of reverse mentoring?
Sure. Reverse mentoring is, we always think of mentors as people who are older, more experienced in a certain area, and they have more understanding of life in general. And that is true. And there's a lot of great mentors there. But, 80% of my staff started off as some level of an intern. And if I was still doing business the way that my colleagues are in the fashion business, well, they're 7 steps away from the money. They make a product. Maybe the department store buys it. Maybe the kid in the department store takes it out of the stock room and puts it on the shelf. Maybe somebody walks by and purchases it. Maybe they go to the register. And if they don't like it, maybe they send it back. I have no data on those people. Who are they? Was it a mother buying it for her son? Was it a son buying it for herself? Vice versa, whatever the case is. Why did they send it back? What happened? So I'm 7 steps away from the money. And when I realized that these kids who are digital natives are communicating at the speed of sound and light like this, I started to understand different ways to have social media conversion, to talk directly to my customer, to find out exactly what they want. And that's how I started to beat a lot of my competitors, because by the time they put a great thing in the catalog in Macy's and they got a great store, before they even get out of their house, I'm talking to them before anybody else can talk to them. And that's understanding how these kids are communicating, understanding what a TikTok is, what a Snapchat is. Now, I don't expect the professionals here to be dancing around on TikTok, right? Because that's probably not your thing. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But a lot of people, because they get their eyes gloss over when they think about social media and all these other platforms, say, oh, that's just for kids. Oh, that's a stupid stuff. No, it's not. You could have on TikTok all the new laws and rules that have come around, how you can make money doing this, how your rights are being violated doing this, just putting up inspirational things and showing just clips of the news or clips of rewards and awards that people have gotten. It doesn't always have people are so much like it has to be one way or another. No, you don't have to dance and sing. You are not going to see Daymond dancing and singing on TikTok like I set up the camera. I'm 52 years old. Why the hell would I do that? Now, if somebody catches me dancing and puts me on there, that's okay. But more importantly, I'm going to be talking about inspirational stuff. So again, understanding reverse mentorship, you can learn something from anybody, especially us. Listen, most people here probably have kids. You know how many things we've been turned on to from our children? We just didn't say our kids mentored us, but it's the most priceless thing we have in our lives. We see that our kid is attached to this and we go, wow, this thing has really affected the most valuable thing in my life. Maybe somebody's doing something there. I need to understand this a little more. That's reverse mentorship.
So you're already, wealthy and successful. How do you have the humility to open your mind to emerging platforms and to adapt when social media comes, or TikTok specifically, where you're at least open to the emerging landscape? And why, what internal habits do you have where you're able to change your paradigm when the market changes?
I think to understand that there's always more growth, to understand that to be an entrepreneur is to be vulnerable, and to let other people know you're learning, because if other people know more, the right ones would love to teach you and love for you to join what they're doing, and let them feel like superstars. But to understand that if you really want to grow, you have to learn something new every day. The Daymond John of today, my nutrition, when I was 25 years old, it was eat pizza and sleep 3 hours a night and party. If I didn't learn how to become more efficient, then, my habits right now are totally different. But, there's always going to be somebody smarter than you and with more money. If Cuban woke up with my money today, he would jump off the top of this building right now. And if Bezos woke up with Cuban's money, he would jump off even a higher building, right? So how do I get to the level of understanding who these people are? And it's been done. And there's more I want to do. So I'm not saying humility has to be only for money. It could be for your faith. It could be, I'm on my second marriage. Why did my first marriage fail? Well, you know what? It's not going to be only because of that other person. I'm going to blame myself on it. And I'm not going to make those mistakes now. So I think that understanding, when you walk in the room and you understand that you are not perfect and there's room for growth, I think that's when you're able to grow and be a better person in whatever your goal may be.